Hello and good morning. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah and this is Jar of Fireflies. Here you will find videos all about my life as an Orthodox Jewish homeschooling mother of three. And today is one of your favorite videos, day in the life, getting ready for Shabbat. Okay, so there's a lot of noise in my kitchen right now with the dishwasher running and the clothes machine washer running and so I will try to make this sort of brief. All right, so as you saw, woke up, tried to have a little bit of a quiet morning. Honestly, that did not last long at all. My kids woke up so early this morning, so I got no introverting alone time, but that's okay. I did get to sit in there with my miniature stuff for a little bit and work on like a small section of that. So I got at least a little bit of progress today, and I'm hoping to get back in there later and do a little bit more. But in the meantime, other than that, the kids were playing a fun game this morning, which I'll show you guys later. And I made them some eggs with cheese and crumbled tortilla chips for breakfast, which I had as well, along with my smoothie, which, oh my gosh, nobody told me green smoothies were so delicious. Like, where has the secret been kept all my life? So delicious. It's like my new favorite thing. And yes, I skipped the tea this morning and went straight for the smoothie. Tea will happen later. Now that it's getting so hot out during the day, I am in Texas. We're hitting the 90s already here, folks. And yeah, tea is more of a night thing, kind of a calm down before bed. It's not so much, but let's wake up and have a hot drink because it's hot outside. Anyways, I'm gonna get to cleaning up the kitchen right now because my husband did some cooking in here this morning for Shabbat. And while I'm cleaning, I'll do a voiceover and I will chat with you about what we did earlier this week. It's been a week, you guys. Okay, let's do this. Okay, you guys, it is story time. All right, as you may recall, in my last video, there was the big Torah celebration in my community. Okay, as soon as that was over, I piled the kids up in the car and we took off for a few days of camping. All right, but the camping did not go as planned. So for this camp out, we were a couple hours away from home. It wasn't as close as we usually are, so going home wasn't exactly an option. Okay, but the plan was, of course, not to go home. The plan was to camp. And we get there, and I'm checking the weather forecast, and the forecast keeps getting worse and worse and worse. It went from no chance of rain and just, cloudy for a few days to all of a sudden that night, there was like 100% chance of thunderstorms and most of the night. And I was like, okay, dude, I can't sleep in a tent with 3 small children and a giant thunderstorm going on. There's just no way. So what I ended up doing was loading everything up back in the car and going and getting a hotel room. There was a hotel nearby. It was a nice hotel. So we booked it. I was super bummed to not be in a tent. We were there with friends, so, I felt bad, but I was happy to be in a nice air-conditioned room with a shower, not gonna lie. But anyway, so I go to sleep, and it turns out it did not rain at all that night. So I woke up in the morning, and I was like, are you kidding me? I just spent all this money on a hotel and all of this for what? Well, then the skies unleashed. There was a massive storm for several hours there in the morning, and I was incredibly grateful that we were safe inside of a hotel room. And it turns out that our other friends that we were camping with came and also booked hotel rooms at other times during the night. So I think we were all feeling pretty good about our decision at that point, and we all ended up hanging out in the hotel rooms that morning. The kids built some forts and we played some games, and it was all fun. Okay. So we go back to the campground and everything's fine. We're hanging out there for the day. We're doing some hiking and everything's great. Well, we ended up booking the hotel room again for that night because there was more chances of storms and things like that. And I just felt better being in a hotel room and not, again, in a tent with 3 small children who were scared of thunder and lightning in a storm. Okay, not all of my children are scared of thunder and lightning, but it only takes one. So we went back to the hotel at about 8 o'clock that night, spent the night there, and again, didn't storm that night, but it did again the next morning. So again, we were still in the hotel, so everything was fine. So basically, after this storm was over, we again went back to the campground where we got to spend another day hanging out with our friends, doing some hiking, playing by the river, and just having some good old-fashioned campground fun. We were cooking our meals out there at the campground. The kids had a blast playing with their friends. I had a blast hanging out with my friends. And even though it was definitely not the camping trip that I intended, the trip turned out to be super awesome, and I'm so glad that we went. But that's my story from earlier this week. Okay, because I am fairly positive my husband is not quite done in the kitchen yet, that's where I'm going to stop for now here in the kitchen. All right, let's move on and see what else we have to do today. All right, so there is sweet Bella, our dog. We got her a new dog bed, so she is so excited. I've been looking everywhere and finally found one. So that's the more news from this week. All right, now I am moving on to a little mending job. My daughter told me last night, right when she was getting into bed, that her blanket had a hole in it. Okay, I like to mend things, not just like throw them out or replace them right away. So this was a quick and easy mend, but I wanted to go ahead and get it done today because I didn't want it to get any worse and I didn't want any of the fluff from the inside to fall out or anything like that. So I gathered up her blanket, brought it into my sewing room and started stitching up along this little like maybe 2 or 3 inches where the hole was. Whether it is changing a light bulb or stitching up a little torn blanket, I always feel good when I'm able to repair something or fix something or do something around the house as opposed to having somebody else do it or replacing it. So this was a fantastic thing for me to do today because obviously I'm not mending things every day, but it definitely feels good when I do. So I got her blanket all fixed up and carried that back into her room, where I went ahead and just made her bed for her. She always enjoys that when I do it for her. She doesn't really do it herself, but she's tiny and only 5, so no biggie there. But I went ahead and made her bed for her and picked up her blanket that was on the floor and added that to her bed as well. And while I was folding that up, I heard the alarm in the kitchen going off that was telling me that whatever was in the oven was done. Okay, so like I said, my husband was doing the cooking earlier today, so he had something in the oven. I don't know what. So I was eager to go into the kitchen and pull that out and get a little sneak peek of what was in store for us for our Shabbat lunch the next day. I figured that's what the meal was. We don't generally have a meat at Friday night. We generally just have our fish and bread and salads. So I was quite confident this was for lunch, and I was right. But anyways, pulled that out and got to lift up the foil there and take a peek inside. It was a really yummy looking roast with carrots. I'm not super into red meat, but I am very excited about those carrots. So yeah, I'll definitely be partaking in that tomorrow at lunch. Okay, so now I've brought you guys into my bedroom. We're here at my nightstand so I can show you some of the books that I'm reading right now. Books are a huge thing for us on Shabbat. I do read alouds for my kids. Generally, it's one of their literature selections that they're doing for school, as well as we're working our way through the Harry Potter series together. Right now we're on book 4 and we're using the really cool illustrated versions for that. Okay, for the other books that I'm reading right now, I have A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson. This is a hilarious book, and it's about Bill Bryson going and walking the Appalachian Trail. It's like a little bit of a memoir / travel book / comedy, and I absolutely love it. I grew up hiking little bits of the Appalachian Trail, so this book is superbly fun because I've actually been to some of those places that he's talking about. The next book I'm reading is called Mozart's Starling. I love nature and I love history, and this is a combination of both. Oh, and music. I also love music. So yeah, this book is combining all of that because Mozart apparently had a pet starling, and this fact fascinates me. So I'm getting to read this book where I'm learning a lot about starlings, a lot about Mozart, and of course, general history. The next book that I am reading is called Ochel Rachel, and this is a fantastic book. It is what I am reading to help improve my marriage, just like the Jewish book that I'm reading right now. I love to have some sort of a non-fiction, self-improvement / religious book going on all the time as well. So this is my current selection, and this is to help improve my marriage because, hey, it can always get better, right? The next book that I am reading is called The Charlotte Mason Companion, and this is basically going through Charlotte Mason's philosophy, just bringing a little bit more modern language to it. And this woman's, Karen Andriola, if I'm saying that correctly, her personal experiences are brought into it a lot, as well as someone who's homeschooled her children through the Charlotte Mason method. So this is my book to help me improve professionally as a homeschool mom. The final book that I am adding into the selection today, and I am so excited about this. This came in the mail like yesterday. I did not know this existed. Apparently it's been around for a few months. But anyways, I decided I wanted to start the Harry Potter series over for myself, and I was 1 chapter into my original Harry Potter book that I bought like 20 years ago, and then I discovered this, a new illustrated interactive version of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So yeah, super stoked about that. It's really beautiful. It has all this cool stuff inside, like, sorry this is a spoiler, like close your eyes if you want to get this and be shocked. Like you can pull out, dun, 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 it's Diagon Alley. Okay, so yeah, just super fun things like that. And then it just has these gorgeous illustrations all throughout the book. So I'm really excited to be able to explore that and unleash the magic of Harry Potter yet again in my life. So yeah, that's going to be a fun one as well. So those are my current reading selections that I just thought I would share with you today. So after a little bit more tidying up around the house, the kids were totally doing their own thing. They were playing this awesome new card game that we got called There's a Moose in the House. My son was doing a little bit of his math program on the computer, and just there was some drawing and just kind of general stuff. So I decided I'd go ahead and go back into my craft room and work on my miniature stuff. Now, I probably should have painted this a long time ago in hindsight because this paint was taking forever to dry. And of course, I kept trying to paint over it when it wasn't quite dry yet. And then that was causing the paint to just kind of brush off that was already there. So anyways, it was taking forever and I was not being very patient. So I kind of set that wall aside to dry and I worked on a few other things to put this wall together, cutting out some paper stuff that needs to get glued to the wall, sewing up the curtains there for the wall, and kind of arranging a few other things like the pots and pans that are going to go on this wall. I'm telling you guys, this is really starting to come together. I'm really excited. Like, I really feel like I'm almost done. I definitely won't finish today though. This is about all that I'm going to be able to do probably before Shabbat starts. We're hitting sort of mid to late afternoon at this point, and I still have like a load of laundry to put away. I want to run the vacuum over the floors and maybe just mop the living room where the dog has tracked her little muddy paws across the floor just a tad. But this was a fun little break that I quite enjoyed. Okay, so I actually checked the clock this time and it is gearing up towards 4 o'clock right now. So yeah, time to go ahead and get back to getting everything else done. So I started with getting the laundry out of the dryer, the one and only load of laundry that I needed to do today, but I needed to do it. I just want to get it done so I don't have to think about it over Shabbat. While I was doing this, I was also doing a little bit of general straightening up as I was going and calling the kids to come and get their various things that were in various places around the house that needed to end up in some various place inside of their rooms. So overall, the house is starting to look good and we're getting towards being ready for Shabbat. All right, you guys know the routine. I gotta set the table for Shabbat, gotta pull the old tablecloth off, gotta put the new tablecloth on. I love this job. It is so much fun. To me, this is like really bringing in Shabbat because once this is done, it's like I'm ready. I'm ready for Shabbat once the table is set. Before that, I don't feel ready. So on days where I'm super busy and I don't get the table set before candle lighting, I don't know, I don't feel quite ready. But Shabbat's coming whether I like it or not. And today, thanks to the long summer hours, I was able to get the table set in plenty of time for Shabbat to start. And since we had plenty of time, I called the kids into the kitchen and we worked on making a fun dessert together. So we are making pudding. It's instant pudding, so super duper easy, but super duper fun for the kids. And they get to totally have ownership of this because they did it all themselves. All I did was help measure out the milk a little bit. So yes, we did use real milk in this pudding mix because we plan to eat it tonight. And for tonight, we're not having any meat. We're just having fish. So we can 100% have a dairy dessert tonight. And tomorrow, I think the plan will just be to have popsicles or something for dessert. It'll be hot, so the kids will really super love that. Okay, so before Shabbat starts, I want to go ahead and put the bread on the hot plate. And so I always wrap the bread up in some foil before I do this. And the bread I pulled out of the freezer this morning that I baked earlier this week. So I'm just wrapping that up now. And then I have a few extra pieces of foil over here on the table. And I'm just going to flatten those out and fold them over and then put them in a drawer so that when I need more foil later on Shabbat, I will have some already cut. We can't cut foil on Shabbat. Can't cut anything on Shabbat unless it's for saving a life. So that's why I go ahead and pre-cut this foil and then I just fold it up. And I keep a stash in the bottom of my towel drawer where all my kitchen towels are. And I just knew that after last week that was empty. So yeah, just needed to restock those. All right, and after that, I'm just placing the bread here on our hot plate, and I'm gonna put a towel on top of that to keep the heat in, and then I can go get changed and ready for Shabbat. Okay guys, I think with that, I am all ready for Shabbat. I am so excited. We have one guest coming over tonight, so I am super excited to share the meal with my friend and enjoy her company and just enjoy Shabbat in general because Shabbat is awesome. Okay, if you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. And if you have not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now and make sure you hit that bell so that you get all of your notifications when I post a new video, which is every Monday and Thursday, just in case you didn't know. All right, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and I will see you in my next upload.